The desert sun blazed mercilessly over Saqqara, its golden rays bathing the ancient ruins in an otherworldly glow. Deep beneath the sands, a labyrinth of tunnels stretched in eerie silence, the Serapeum of Saqqara. Here, the sacred Apis bulls had been interred in massive sarcophagi, each monolithic tomb carved with precision that baffled modern engineers. Dr. Lila Ramon adjusted her headlamp and wiped a thin sheen of sweat from her forehead. The archaeologist's voice echoed softly as she narrated into her recorder, January 20, 2025. Excavation Site Zeta, Chamber 3. We've discovered anomalies in the inscriptions. Symbols that don't align with traditional hieroglyphic lexicons. Her team was scattered through the vast underground chambers, their lights dancing across smooth granite walls. Each sarcophagus was larger than a small car, weighing an estimated 70 tons. Yet, somehow, the ancient Egyptians had managed to transport and position these behemoths with surgical accuracy. Lila's team wasn't here for conventional archaeological glory, though. They had stumbled upon something far stranger. Weeks earlier, a ground-penetrating radar scan of the site had revealed an uncharted sublevel beneath the main chambers. Accessing it had taken days of careful excavation, leading to a sealed doorway adorned with cryptic symbols. Unlike the rest of the Serapeum, these markings were alien, literally. The sharp, angular designs resembled nothing seen in any known human culture. When the door was finally breached, it revealed a chamber unlike anything they'd encountered. The walls shimmered faintly, as though embedded with some kind of metallic or that reflected their lights in strange, fractal patterns. And in the center of the room stood a sarcophagus unlike the others, sleeker, smaller, and pulsating faintly with an inner glow. Lila's hands trembled as she ran her fingers over the glowing surface. Her mind raced with possibilities, but one word stuck out like a beacon: technology. This wasn't just stone. It felt warm, almost alive, and the faint hum beneath her fingertips resonated through her bones. She called over Dr. Marcus Lang, the team's engineer and materials specialist. Marcus crouched beside her, his expression shifting from curiosity to outright disbelief. Lila, this isn't granite or quartzite. I don't even think it's terrestrial. What do you mean? Lila pressed. This material is reactive. Look. He placed his hand near the surface, and the faint glow intensified, following the movement of his fingers. Lila's pulse quickened. We need to open it. The decision wasn't made lightly. For hours, the team debated the ethics and potential risks of disturbing the artifact. But curiosity, and the undeniable allure of discovery, ultimately won. Using precision equipment, they began the painstaking process of unlocking its secrets. As the lid slid back, the chamber filled with a low-frequency hum that seemed to vibrate the very air around them. Inside lay what appeared to be the mummified remains of an Apis bull, its body perfectly preserved. But something was different. The bones seemed reinforced, the skull elongated, and beneath the layers of wrapping, faint metallic gleams hinted at something embedded within the flesh. Marcus leaned in, his instruments scanning the remains. There's no way this is purely biological, he said. I'm detecting alloys, titanium, iridium, materials that shouldn't be here. Not in a creature this old. Lila stared, her mind reeling. The Apis bulls had always been revered as divine, their lives intertwined with rituals and celestial symbolism. Could it be that these creatures weren't just symbols of divinity but embodiments of it? Visitors from beyond the stars? As the team delved deeper, strange phenomena began to occur. Electronic equipment malfunctioned near the sarcophagus. Lights flickered, and whispers echoed through the tunnels, though no one could determine their source. One night, a junior archaeologist named Amal claimed to see glowing eyes in the darkness, watching her. The others dismissed it as fatigue, but Lila wasn't so sure. Marcus made another breakthrough days later. Using advanced imaging, he discovered intricate circuitry within the bull's remains. This isn't just a creature, he said. It's a hybrid. Part organic, part machine. But the level of integration is impossible. Not even our most advanced prosthetics come close to this. Lila felt a chill run down her spine. You're saying it was engineered? Not just engineered. Perfected. The deeper they investigated, the stranger things became. The walls of the hidden chamber began to emit faint patterns of light, shifting in response to their movements. Marcus theorized that the entire room was some kind of interface, though its purpose remained unclear. Late one night, as Lila pored over their findings, she felt a sudden compulsion to return to the chamber. Something was calling her. She descended the winding corridors alone, the oppressive silence broken only by the sound of her own breathing. When she entered the chamber, the sarcophagus began to hum again, louder this time. The lights on the walls coalesced into symbols, forming a spiraling pattern that seemed to draw her in. Without thinking, she reached out and touched the central glyph. The room exploded with light, and Lila was engulfed in a wave of images. She saw a vast expanse of stars, a massive ship shaped like an apis bull gliding through the cosmos. She saw beings that resembled the ancient depictions of Egyptian gods, their forms shifting between human and animal. And she saw Earth, young and vibrant, its skies filled with alien vessels. A voice echoed in her mind, deep and resonant, the chosen stewards of life. Our guardians. Our emissaries. Lila collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. When she opened her eyes, Marcus and the others were standing over her, their faces etched with concern. "You've been gone for hours," Marcus said. "We were worried." "I saw them," Lila whispered. "The apis. They were sent here to guide us. To protect us. But something went wrong." The discovery of the hybrid bull quickly attracted global attention. Military officials and shadowy government agencies descended upon the site, their interest in the technology overriding any concern for its cultural significance. Lila and her team were pushed aside, relegated to the role of mere observers as scientists and engineers dismantled the sarcophagus and its contents. But as they probed deeper, the phenomena intensified. Strange lights appeared in the desert sky, and the ground beneath Saqqara trembled with an unsettling rhythm. Locals reported seeing spectral bulls charging through the sands at night, their forms flickering like mirages. Then, one fateful evening, the ground beneath the Serapeum collapsed. A massive sinkhole opened, swallowing half the site. From the depths emerged a structure unlike anything on Earth, a towering crystalline spire that pulsed with an inner light. The spire emitted a signal, a low, resonant hum that echoed across the planet. Within hours, astronomers detected an anomaly near Jupiter. A massive object, moving at impossible speeds, was heading straight for Earth. Lila stood at the edge of the sinkhole, staring at the spire. She knew, deep in her soul, that the signal was a call. The apis emissaries were returning, and whatever they brought with them would change humanity forever. The spire thrummed with life, its crystalline structure glowing brighter with every passing moment. The signal it emitted wasn't just sound, it was a message. Complex waveforms filled the air, resonating in patterns that seemed almost mathematical. Lila stood at the edge of the sinkhole, her heart pounding as the weight of the moment pressed down on her. "Do you hear it?" she asked Marcus, who had rushed to her side. Marcus nodded, his face pale. "It's not just sound. It's data. Look." He held up a portable analyzer, its screen flickering with streams of alien code. "This is a transmission. A message. And it's directed outward." Toward the object near Jupiter, Lila whispered, the realization dawning on her. "They're calling for reinforcements." Within hours, the world's attention turned to Saqqara. News of the spire and the inbound anomaly spread like wildfire. Satellite images of the object near Jupiter showed a massive, bull-shaped vessel, its surface bristling with what appeared to be crystalline arrays similar to the spire. Governments scrambled to interpret the signal, while militaries prepared for the worst. At the sinkhole, the situation grew even stranger. The spire began projecting holographic images into the sky, scenes of Earth in its ancient past. Vast herds of apis bulls roamed the Nile Valley, their eyes glowing with the same ethereal light as the spire. Humans in primitive garb tended to them, not as farmers but as disciples, their gestures reverent as they cared for their sacred charges. "What are we looking at?" Marcus murmured, staring at the projections. "History," Lila replied. "But not ours. This is their story." The projections shifted, showing massive alien vessels descending from the heavens. The bulls were loaded into the ships, their bodies encased in what appeared to be crystalline pods. Then came the final image, a massive explosion in space, a cataclysmic event that shattered one of the ships and sent debris hurtling toward Earth. Lila's breath caught. The Serapeum, she said. It wasn't just a burial site. It was an emergency vault. A place to safeguard the hybrids until help could arrive. Marcus's jaw tightened. And now they're here. But are they coming to help, or to finish what they started? By the time the object reached Earth's orbit, the spire had reached its full brilliance, casting the desert in an unearthly glow. The world watched as the vessel slowed, defying the laws of physics as it came to a gentle stop above the pyramids of Giza. Its size was staggering, nearly 10 kilometers long, its sleek bull-like form radiating an aura of undeniable power. A single beam of light shot down from the ship, connecting with the spire in Saqqara. The ground trembled, and the air grew thick with an electric charge. Lila and her team were forced to retreat as the spire began to transform. Its crystalline surface cracked and reformed, extending upward until it resembled a massive obelisk. Then came the sound, a deep, resonant voice that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at once. It spoke in a language none of them recognized, yet its meaning was clear. A holographic figure appeared above the spire, a towering bull-headed being, its eyes glowing with the same eerie light as the hybrid remains. Lila stepped forward, her heart pounding. I think it's addressing us. The figure's voice shifted, its words becoming intelligible. Stewards of Earth. You have awakened the veil. The Guardians have returned. Guardians? Marcus muttered, glancing at Lila. That doesn't sound too hostile. Lila raised her voice, forcing herself to remain calm. Why are you here? What do you want? The figure turned its glowing eyes toward her. To restore balance. The experiment was compromised. The hybrids were lost. But now, we see that you have inherited their charge. What experiment? Lila pressed. What charge? The hologram flickered, and the voice grew heavier. The Apis were vessels of life and knowledge, designed to guide your kind toward unity. But the cataclysm severed their link. Without them, your progress faltered. You have become fractured. Lila exchanged a look with Marcus. They're saying the bulls were meant to be some kind of teachers, mentors. And now they think we failed, Marcus added grimly. The hologram continued, its tone grave. The restoration begins now. But your kind must decide, will you embrace the path of unity, or will you repeat the cycle of division? As the figure spoke, the beam of light connecting the spire and the ship intensified. The air around them shimmered, and the sand began to shift, rising into the air as though caught in an invisible current. From the ship, smaller vessels descended, each shaped like a crystalline shard. The vessels landed near the spire, their surfaces pulsing with a soft blue light. As they opened, Lila's breath caught. Emerging from within were creatures that resembled the Apis hybrids, massive bull-like beings with metallic exoskeletons and glowing eyes. They moved with deliberate grace, their gaze sweeping over the gathered humans. One of the hybrids approached Lila, its immense form towering over her. Yet, as its eyes met hers, she felt no fear, only a profound sense of connection. We seek harmony, the creature said, its voice resonating in her mind. But the choice is yours. The arrival of the hybrids and the spire's activation sent shockwaves around the globe. Some nations called for immediate diplomacy, while others demanded military action. Protests erupted, and conspiracy theories flourished. The world stood on the brink of chaos, torn between fear and hope. At the Serapeum, Lila and her team worked tirelessly to understand the hybrid's message. The spire had begun transmitting data, streams of information encoded in a way that no human system could fully decipher. Yet, within the data, Marcus found fragments of what appeared to be blueprints. These aren't just schematics, he said, his voice tinged with awe. They're instructions. For something massive. Lila stared at the screen, her mind racing. A beacon, she said. They want us to build a beacon. To call more of them? Marcus asked, his tone wary. Or to prove we're worthy, Lila replied. Maybe both. The hybrid's arrival had opened a door to possibilities humanity could barely comprehend. But as the world grappled with the enormity of the moment, one thing became clear. The Apis emissaries hadn't just come to guide humanity. They had come to test it. And the test had only just begun. The days following the hybrid's arrival were a blur of negotiations, scientific breakthroughs, and simmering global tensions. The crystalline spire at Saqqara continued to pulse with energy, its purpose a tantalizing mystery. The hybrids, intelligent and enigmatic, remained at the site, observing but rarely speaking. Their presence evoked awe and unease in equal measure, dividing humanity into camps of eager collaboration and staunch resistance. Lila sat in the cramped command tent, staring at a holographic projection of the blueprints extracted from the spire's transmissions. The designs were breathtaking in their complexity, a structure miles high, composed of interlocking crystalline segments. Marcus, standing beside her, looked equally overwhelmed. "This isn't just a beacon," he said, running a hand through his hair. "It's some kind of generator. The energy output it's suggesting, it's on a planetary scale. If we build this, it could either save us or destroy us. But it's the only way forward," Lila replied. "If we reject this, we risk alienating the hybrids or worse, provoking them." Marcus hesitated, then nodded. "We'll need resources from every corner of the planet. No single nation can pull this off." The enormity of the task sank in. Constructing the beacon would require unprecedented global cooperation, a feat humanity had never achieved. Yet, for the first time in centuries, the prospect of a shared purpose seemed within reach. Not everyone agreed with Lila's optimism. In secret meetings across the world, leaders of powerful nations debated whether the hybrids could be trusted. Military forces began quietly amassing near the Saqqara site, their presence justified as security measures. General Alan Brax of the United States military voiced the concerns of many during a heated summit. "We're talking about beings who've been manipulating our species for millennia," he said, his voice a growl. "They claim to want peace, but for all we know, this so-called beacon is a weapon." Lila, invited to the summit as the lead archaeologist and hybrid liaison, stood her ground. "The hybrids have given us no reason to doubt their intentions," she countered. "The beacon is a test of our willingness to unite, not a trap." "And what if you're wrong?" Brax shot back. "What if lighting that thing up is the last mistake humanity ever makes?" The room fell silent. The weight of his question hung heavily in the air. That evening, under the starlit desert sky, Lila approached one of the hybrids. Its form glimmered faintly in the moonlight, its metallic hide reflecting a kaleidoscope of colors. She had come to think of this one as Horus, though whether it recognized or accepted the name was unclear. "Horus," she began hesitantly, "there's division among us. Fear. Some believe the beacon is a threat." The hybrid's glowing eyes fixed on her, its voice resonating in her mind. "Fear is the shadow of ignorance. The beacon is not a weapon. It is a bridge, to connect your kind with the greater tapestry of life." "But why now?" she asked. "Why return after all this time? Your species has reached a precipice. You possess the tools to ascend or to fall. The beacon will amplify your potential, but only if you can wield it together." Lila nodded, though doubt gnawed at her. "And if we fail? Then your path ends here." The finality of the statement sent a chill down her spine. Construction of the beacon commenced under the watchful gaze of the hybrids. Massive transports ferried materials from around the globe to Saqqara, where engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to assemble the crystalline segments. The structure rose rapidly, its glowing framework visible from miles away. But as the beacon neared completion, tensions boiled over. A coalition of nations, led by General Brax, issued an ultimatum. The project must be halted until the hybrids' intentions could be verified. Troops converged on Saqqara, their presence a stark contrast to the collaborative spirit the beacon symbolized. Lila pleaded with the coalition's leaders. "If you stop this now, you'll doom us all. The hybrids won't wait forever." Brax was unmoved. "We're taking control of the site. Effective immediately." As soldiers advanced toward the spire, the hybrids reacted for the first time. A low-frequency hum filled the air, and the ground beneath the soldiers' feet began to quake. The hybrids formed a protective perimeter around the spire, their bodies glowing with an intensity that forced the troops to retreat. "Stand down," Lila shouted, her voice barely audible over the rising hum. "You're provoking them." Brax's voice crackled over the comms. "We're not backing off. If they want a fight, we'll give it to them." Before the situation could escalate further, the spire emitted a blinding burst of light. The hum ceased, replaced by an eerie silence. When the light faded, the hybrids were gone, along with the soldiers who had threatened the beacon. In their place stood new crystalline formations, their shapes reminiscent of the vanished humans. A voice echoed from the spire, different from the hybrids' telepathic communication. It was deeper, more ancient, and filled with a sense of immense power. The trial is not of war, but of wisdom. Violence begets stagnation. Those who sought to disrupt the balance have been removed. Lila's heart sank. The hybrids had given humanity a chance, and already it was slipping through their fingers. Despite the setback, construction resumed under a fragile truce. The loss of the soldiers served as a grim reminder of the stakes, forcing even the most skeptical leaders to reconsider their positions. As the beacon reached its final stage, Lila couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the edge of something far greater than themselves. On the eve of activation, Marcus approached her with a tablet displaying the final transmission from the hybrids before they vanished. "It's not just a beacon," he said, his voice trembling. "It's a gate. A portal to wherever they came from." Lila stared at the glowing spire, her mind racing. If the beacon was a gate, then activating it would do more than summon the hybrids. It could bring humanity face to face with an entire interstellar civilization. "Are we ready for this?" Marcus asked. Lila didn't answer. She wasn't sure anyone could be. The air around the completed beacon hummed with a palpable energy. The crystalline spire stood taller than any structure humans had ever built, its apex piercing the sky like a shard of frozen starlight. The moment had arrived. Across the globe, billions held their breath, watching live feeds as the team at Saqqara prepared to activate the beacon. Lila stood at the base of the spire, her hand trembling as it hovered over the control interface. The alien symbols shimmered faintly, awaiting her touch. Marcus stood beside her, his expression a mix of awe and apprehension. "You're sure about this?" he asked. "No," she replied honestly. "But we've come too far to stop now." With a deep breath, she pressed her hand against the central glyph. The symbols ignited, cascading outward like ripples on a pond. The beacon roared to life, sending a beam of pure light shooting into the sky. It pierced the atmosphere, reaching beyond Earth's orbit, a brilliant signal to the stars. The ground beneath them vibrated, and a deep, resonant tone filled the air, a sound that seemed to come from the very fabric of reality. Around the beacon, shimmering distortions appeared, like heat waves on a desert horizon. The distortions grew, coalescing into a massive circular portal suspended in midair. The portal shimmered with an iridescent glow, its surface alive with shifting patterns of light. A low hum resonated from its depths, growing louder until it became a symphony of alien frequencies. Then, slowly, something emerged. The first figure to step through was unlike anything anyone had imagined. It was tall and slender, its form encased in a metallic exoskeleton that pulsed with a soft, organic glow. Its head resembled a hybrid between a bull and a bird, with intricate patterns etched into its armor-like skin. Behind it followed more beings, each unique in appearance but sharing the same aura of otherworldly majesty. The hybrids that had been guarding the spire reappeared, stepping forward to greet the newcomers. The two groups exchanged silent gestures, movements that seemed both ritualistic and deeply familiar. Lila felt a lump rise in her throat. She had spent her life studying ancient civilizations, but nothing could have prepared her for this. She stepped forward hesitantly, her every instinct screaming at her to stop, yet she couldn't resist the pull of the moment. The lead being turned its gaze toward her, its glowing eyes piercing yet serene. It spoke, its voice a harmonious blend of tones that seemed to resonate within her mind. "You have answered the call." Lila swallowed hard. We've built the beacon, as you instructed. What happens now?" The being tilted its head, as though considering her question. "Now, your kind must decide. The gate connects worlds, but it is not without cost. What you bring through will shape your future, for better or worse." As the beings stepped aside, the portal shimmered again, revealing glimpses of their homeworld. Towering crystalline structures stretched into a violet sky, their surfaces alive with flowing energy. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved in harmony, their forms blending the organic and mechanical in ways that defied comprehension. But beyond the beauty lay a shadow. In the distance, dark shapes loomed, massive constructs that pulsed with a menacing red light. The newcomers' tone shifted, their voices laced with urgency. There are those who would take this power for themselves. They are coming. The words sent a chill down Lila's spine. Who? What are they? An ancient force. Once, they were like us, creators and stewards. But they sought dominion instead of harmony. They consume worlds, leaving only desolation in their wake. Marcus, standing behind Lila, muttered under his breath, "Great. We just built a glowing 'here we are' sign for intergalactic predators." The lead being turned to Marcus, its gaze unwavering. The beacon is both a shield and a lure. It amplifies your potential to create, but it also draws attention. If you are to survive, you must act with unity and purpose. The activation of the beacon and the arrival of the alien beings had finally united humanity, if only temporarily. Leaders from every nation convened in an emergency summit, debating their next steps. Some argued for immediate dismantling of the beacon, fearing the arrival of hostile forces. Others saw it as humanity's only chance to advance beyond their limitations. Lila was summoned to address the assembly. Standing before a panel of world leaders, she laid out what she had learned. The beacon is more than a signal, it's a catalyst. It's not just about contacting other civilizations, it's about deciding who we want to become. And if we don't pass this so-called test? A skeptical diplomat asked. Lila hesitated. Then we won't have the chance to find out. Before humanity could reach a consensus, the sky over Earth darkened. Massive, angular ships emerged from the depths of space, their surfaces bristling with weapons. They dwarfed the hybrid vessels still orbiting Earth, their presence a stark reminder of the warnings given. The hybrids at Saqqara stood motionless, their glowing eyes fixed on the sky. When the first enemy ship descended, they finally spoke. The trial has begun. The ground trembled as the hybrids' crystalline forms began to shift and expand, merging into larger constructs. The spire itself transformed, its segments rearranging into a colossal defensive mechanism. Beams of energy shot into the sky, striking the enemy ships and lighting up the heavens in a dazzling display. The world watched in stunned silence as the hybrids fought alongside humanity. Their advanced technology provided a fighting chance, but the invaders were relentless, their ships blotting out the stars as more poured through the portal. As the battle raged, Lila and Marcus worked frantically at the base of the spire, deciphering the final pieces of the beacon's transmission. Buried within the data was a hidden protocol, something the hybrids hadn't revealed. "It's a failsafe," Marcus said, his voice tight. "If we activate it, the beacon will collapse the portal, but it'll take the spire and everything within range with it." Lila stared at the screen, her mind racing. Activating the failsafe would mean sacrificing the hybrids and the spire, along with any chance of future contact with the alien civilization. But it might also save Earth from annihilation. The lead hybrid approached, its form flickering as it struggled to maintain cohesion. "The choice is yours, steward. Choose wisely." Lila looked up at the battle raging above, the enemy ships closing in. Her hand hovered over the control interface, the weight of humanity's future pressing down on her.